A full-on Canada Post strike has been averted for now. The 55,000 workers will be staying on while refusing to work overtime as the two sides continue negotiating. Joining us now to discuss the latest in this ongoing dispute is Ian Lee, Associate Professor at the Sprott School of Business at Carleton University in Ottawa. Ian, thank you so much for being with us today. So we're not seeing these workers picketing. They're still working, but there's that ban there. But can today's decision by the union be looked at as maybe an olive branch, a tiny one?
I think it's a bit of an olive branch and window dressing. And I mean by that I don't think it has any substantial impact. Letter volumes, I'll talk about it later, but letter volumes have collapsed since 2006. They're hemorrhaging market share in parcels. The number of parcels delivered is going down, down, down. This is in the audited annual report. And so I suggest that there's very little overtime going on. There's very little overtime going on because the business volumes are declining precipitously. So I doubt there's very much overtime going on in the first place. So it's more of a symbolic gesture, but nonetheless it's welcome because it averts, at least for now, a strike. And a strike would be catastrophic to Canada Post and to CUPW workers, because all it's going to do is drive yet more customers away from Canada Post.
None of us are in this room as negotiations are ongoing, obviously, but I want to touch on the state of the talks. It seems like both sides, both Canada Post and the union, they're still very far apart. What's it going to take for them to really make meaningful change or take meaningful steps and see that progress?
Faiza, you've asked, I think, the core issue, and I was saying this back in November, December when they were on strike to various media outlets, publications, journalists such as yourself, and I'm still saying it. And so did the mediator, Mr. Kaplan, said the very same thing. There is no common ground possible. It is not a dispute or a debate over wages. Yes, wages are there, but that's a sideshow. That's not the core issue. Canada Post has stated repeatedly, publicly, they can only survive if they completely restructure Canada Post. CUPW has said they will not, under any circumstances, give up past benefits that they've obtained in collective negotiations in the past. The most important being that they cannot be laid off after they've been working a certain number of years. They obtained that in 1986 in collective bargaining. And so they understand that the demand to restructure that Canada Post is making involves very large numbers of layoffs. So one is saying we need to restructure and become a lot smaller, and the other organization is saying we will not agree to that whatsoever, so there's no common ground.
What's not being talked about? What are people not having conversations about enough, coming to grips with?
There's two economic fundamentals facing Canada Post. It's not my opinion. It's the data from the audited annual report. And the op-eds in the Globe, and they're nice and sincere, and in the Star and in the Post and so forth, but they, privatize, or remove the letter monopoly. All of these are sideshows to the two fundamentals. Number one, letter mail pieces have dropped by 65%, from 5.5 billion to 2 billion pieces, and they continue to decline year by 6 to 8 to 10%. In another 5 to 7 years, letter mail will vanish from Canada. Their core business in letters will vanish. Second fundamental that is being overlooked, Canada Post is simply not competitive in parcels. The gigs are eating their lunch. They've stated so in the audited annual report. So they're not competitive in parcels. They've lost 50% market share in 4 years, and they've lost 65% of their core business in letters, and there's nothing else. So those are the two fundamentals, and it doesn't matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter what CUPW says. It doesn't matter what Canada Post says. It doesn't matter what the Prime Minister of Canada says. It doesn't change those two fundamental economic realities: collapse of letter mail and its soon disappearance, and collapse of parcels because they're not competitive with the private gig companies.
That raises a lot of questions for the future of Canada Post as these talks continue. We'll see what happens. Ian Lee, Associate Professor at the Sprout School of Business at Carleton University. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, Faiza. Thank you.